A calm home is not always a perfectly clean home. Sometimes it is simply a home that is no longer asking something from you every time you look around. The dishes may still be drying beside the sink. There may be a laundry basket in the corner and a few papers sitting on the kitchen counter. But you can walk into the room without your eyes immediately landing on 5 more things you should be doing. You can sit down without feeling as though the house is waiting for you to get back up. That matters more than we sometimes admit. A lot of women have learned to connect a peaceful home with constant cleaning. If the room still feels unsettled, perhaps they have not done enough. If they can still see work, perhaps they have not earned the right to rest. So they keep going. They wipe the counter, then notice marks on the cupboard doors. They fold the laundry, then see the clothes on the chair. They clear the table and remember the bathroom sink. One small job quietly leads to another. What began as a quick attempt to make the evening feel better becomes an hour of moving from room to room. The house may look cleaner when it is over, but the woman living in it is more tired than before. When this happens again and again, cleaning stops feeling like something that supports you. It begins to feel like work with no natural finish line. There is always another surface, another load of laundry, another drawer that could be sorted, another object sitting in the wrong place. And the difficulty is rarely that you do not know how to clean. For many women over 40, the difficulty is that you notice so much. You notice the mug beside the sink and the handbag near the door. You remember that groceries need planning, the towels need washing, an appointment needs confirming, and there is still a message on your phone waiting for a reply. You notice what is nearly empty. You notice what someone will need in the morning. You notice the things other people seem able to walk past without seeing. By this stage of life, many women have spent years being the person who remembers, prepares notices, and adjusts. You may be managing work, family, a home, relationships, appointments, children, grown children, aging parents, or several of those things at the same time. Even during a quiet evening, part of your mind may still be checking what needs attention next. That is why a small amount of clutter can feel much heavier than it appears. The object itself is often not the tiring part. It is everything attached to it. Where does this belong? Do I need to deal with it tonight? Will someone need it tomorrow? Should I put it away now? And while I am here, should I clean the whole area? A kitchen counter holding 6 unrelated things can become 6 unfinished decisions sitting in plain sight. A receipt needs filing. A charger belongs upstairs. A letter needs answering. The keys should go near the door. The empty container needs washing. The shopping list needs updating. None of these things is especially large. Together, they create a quiet pull on your attention. This is where it can help to separate cleaning from resetting. Cleaning is the deeper work a home needs. Washing, scrubbing, vacuuming, disinfecting, changing sheets, cleaning floors, and removing dirt. A reset has a different purpose. A reset brings a space back to a condition that is easier to live in. It does not need to leave the room spotless. It only needs to make the space feel less demanding. Cleaning the kitchen might mean washing every dish, wiping the cupboards, cleaning the stovetop, and mopping the floor. Resetting the kitchen might mean stacking the dishes neatly beside the sink, wiping one section of the counter and leaving a clean mug ready for tomorrow morning. Cleaning the bedroom might mean changing the sheets, dusting, vacuuming, and going through the wardrobe. Resetting the bedroom could be as simple as clearing the chair, placing your phone face down, and making some space on the bedside table. Cleaning asks, what needs a proper clean? A reset asks, what would make this room easier to come back to? Both have a place. They simply do not have to happen at the same time. That distinction can be a useful part of self-care for women over 40. It gives you another choice besides doing everything or doing nothing. You are not avoiding responsibility. You are choosing not to spend every bit of energy as though every household task carries the same urgency. You may not need to push yourself harder. You may need a system that still works when you are tired. A system for the evening when dinner took longer than expected, when work followed you home in your thoughts, when someone needed to talk, when you have already made more decisions than you can count. Those are the days when a perfect cleaning routine usually falls apart. A small reset can still be possible. One way to make this easier is to stop thinking only in terms of rooms. I need to clean the kitchen is a large instruction. Your mind has to consider the dishes, counters, floor, refrigerator bins, cupboards, and everything else you might notice once you begin. The whole kitchen may not actually be what is bothering you. The sink might be fine, but the crowded counter makes the room feel chaotic. The floor may be able to wait, but the pile of mail beside the kettle keeps catching your eye. Perhaps the kitchen is mostly usable. You simply need one clear place to prepare breakfast in the morning. Instead of deciding which room needs to be cleaned, look for the point creating the most pressure. It may be the chair covered with clothes, the area by the front door where shoes, bags, and packages collect, the end of the kitchen counter where receipts, charges, keys, and papers seem to gather on their own, the bedside table holding books, glasses, tissues, a water cup, and 3 tangled cables. Most homes have these places. They are small, but your eyes keep returning to them. Start there. Not because the rest of the room does not matter. It can wait, because one visible point is carrying most of the stress. When that point feels lighter, the room often feels easier too. You are not trying to finish the entire house. You are giving your attention somewhere calmer to rest. This is also why a gathering basket can be genuinely useful. Putting every item back where it belongs sounds simple until you are tired. One object belongs upstairs, another belongs in the car. A paper needs to be filed. A book belongs in another room. Something else needs to be returned to a family member. Suddenly tidying one surface means walking through the whole house and making a decision about every object you touch. A gathering basket gives those things a temporary place to go. Place it near the area where clutter already collects. At the end of the day, move the objects that do not belong there into the basket. That is all. They have not been fully sorted, and that is fine. For now, the visual noise is contained. The surface becomes usable again. You have not had to make 10 trips at the exact moment your body is telling you it has had enough. You can empty the basket tomorrow morning, over the weekend, or while you are already moving through the house. It helps to give the basket a simple rule so it does not turn into permanent storage. Perhaps it is emptied every Saturday. Perhaps each person takes their things out before bed. Perhaps you carry it with you the next time you go upstairs. The basket is not proof that you failed to organize properly. It is a pause between noticing something and having the energy to deal with it. And sometimes that pause is what makes the whole system usable. The aim is not to hide clutter in baskets forever. It is to make the first step possible on a normal, tired day. Another simple support is an anchor point. An anchor point is one obvious place where everyday objects can return. A tray near the front door for keys and sunglasses. A hook for the handbag that usually ends up on the floor or over the back of a chair. A basket beside the sofa for blankets, books, or the small things that travel between rooms. A dish beside the bed for earrings, reading glasses, or lip balm. A clear piece of kitchen counter that stays available for making tea or preparing breakfast. These small places reduce repeated decisions. Without an anchor, you ask the same question every day. Where should I put this? With an anchor, the room already has an answer. That may sound almost too simple to matter, but much of the tiredness around a home comes from doing the same thinking over and over. Where are the keys? Where should the mail go? Why is the bag on the chair again? Where did I leave the charger? An anchor point removes some of that friction. When the right place is easy to reach, using it requires less effort. The best anchor is not necessarily the most attractive one. It is the one that fits the way you really live. A beautiful basket across the room will not help if everyone naturally drops their belongings beside the door. A hook hidden inside a cupboard may keep things out of sight, but it may be too inconvenient when you arrive home carrying shopping bags. Pay attention to where the difficulty already happens. Put the tray where the mail is actually dropped. Place the laundry basket near the chair where clothes tend to collect. Keep a cleaning cloth close to the surface you wipe most often. Put a small container where cables and chargers already gather. Your home does not have to be arranged around an ideal version of your habit. It can support the habits you already have and gently make them easier. That is often more effective than expecting everyone in the house to suddenly become more organized. There is another part of keeping a calm home that is easy to overlook: knowing when not to begin. At 9 o'clock at night, you may look around and think, I should just get all of this done. The idea is that once everything is finished, you will finally be able to relax. But tired cleaning has a way of growing. You begin with the dishes. Then you notice the stovetop. While cleaning the stovetop, you see crumbs beside the toaster. Then you remember the recycling. Before long, the small amount of energy that could have helped you wind down has been spent starting jobs that were not truly needed tonight. Before you begin, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, do I have enough energy to finish this without borrowing from tomorrow? That is a useful question because sometimes the task is not only costing you tonight's energy, it is taking from tomorrow morning too. When the answer is no, choose a reset instead of a project. Gather the loose objects. Clear one surface. Put one useful thing in place for the morning, then let yourself stop. Stopping while work is still visible can feel uncomfortable, especially when you have spent years showing care by doing fixing and keeping things moving. But protecting the energy you have left is also a form of care. The house will still be there tomorrow. You do not need to meet tomorrow already worn out from trying to finish everything tonight. Picture an ordinary evening. There are several dishes in the sink. Mail is spread across one end of the counter. A handbag is sitting on the floor. A blanket is half folded on the sofa. None of it is a disaster. Still, the room feels heavy enough to keep catching your attention. You could treat it as 4 separate jobs. Or you could choose the one place creating the most noise. You put the mail into a tray. You hang the handbag on its hook. You drop the loose objects into a basket. You clear enough of the counter to make a cup of tea in the morning. The dishes are still there, but now the whole room is not calling to you at once. That is a useful reset. It does not look impressive. It is not meant to. It has worked because the space is easier to enter, easier to use, and easier to leave until you have more energy. Tomorrow, try this in one part of your home. Choose the place that usually feels heavy near the end of the day. Do not make a plan to organize the whole room. Choose one anchor, a tray, a basket, a hook, one clear surface. Then give it a simple job. This tray holds the things I need when I leave the house. This basket holds items that need to return to another room. This hook is for the bag that usually lands on the floor. This part of the counter stays clear for tomorrow morning. The simpler the purpose, the easier it is to remember. And when a system is easy to repeat, you do not have to wait for a sudden burst of motivation before you use it. You can use it on a normal Wednesday, on a tired evening, on a day when the house is not your highest priority, but you would still like it to feel a little kinder. That is the value of a smaller approach. You reduce one source of repeated friction. You leave one part of the home ready to support you. You stop asking how to keep everything perfect and begin noticing what is pulling most heavily on your mind. Then you give that thing somewhere to go. Your home becoming untidy does not mean you are failing. Homes are lived in. Meals are made. Clothes are worn. Bags are carried in and put down. Packages arrive. People read books, drink tea, change clothes, charge phones, and move from one room to another. Life leaves things behind. The goal is not to remove every sign that people live there. It is to create enough support that your home does not constantly leave you feeling behind. You should not have to exhaust yourself before your home allows you to rest. A room can be imperfect and still feel gentle. It can need cleaning and still give you a comfortable place to sit. There can be unfinished work without every unfinished thing becoming an emergency. So tomorrow, notice the point your eyes keep returning to. Give it an anchor. Use a basket when you do not have the energy to make every decision. Clear one small surface when the whole room feels too large. And when your energy is gone, allow a reset to be enough. You do not have to clean all day to feel safe in your own home. Choose one anchor point and let it hold a little of what your mind has been holding. A calm home after 40 begins with fewer things pulling on your mind.